That's the sentence that still sits heavy on my chest, even now. I remember standing there, one hand on the peeling gate, the other holding my newborn son pressed against my shoulder, unable to breathe. The evening air smelled of dust and wet cement. A child was dragging a plastic chair across the veranda where my mother used to sit every morning with her tea. And a woman I had never met was shouting instructions at a painter as if she owned the place. As if I had never existed. My sister, Sana, had once told me that childbirth rewrites a woman's heart. Maybe she was right. Because as I stood there, stitches still fresh, body still weak, I felt something inside me rearrange itself, not gently, not with joy, but with a deep, cold ache. I didn't know it yet, but while I was hooked up to IVs and monitors, praying for a safe delivery, my sister was signing away the only home I had ever known. And she'd done it with a smile. With my name erased. With my future sold off like old furniture. That day, that moment, would become the line that split my life into before and after. People tell you that the last month of pregnancy is supposed to be about nesting, folding tiny onesies, choosing baby names, setting up the crib. Mine was nothing like that. My husband, Saad, works long shifts as a technician, so most nights I was alone in that ancestral house. It wasn't big or fancy. Just a 3-room structure with cracked walls, built by my grandfather, held together by old bricks and even older memories. But it was home. My safe space. My inheritance, a word our elders loved to use like a knife or a blessing, depending on the day. Before everything fell apart, life was simple. Slow. I spent my mornings making tea the way Mama used to, letting the milk simmer until it created that sweet skin on top. I'd sit in the veranda and rub my swollen belly, talking to the baby about the smell of rain, the mango tree in the back, the way the birds gathered every afternoon as if they, too, belonged to our family. Sana lived just a half-hour away, in her husband's family house, a bigger place, busier, always full of noise. Ever since she got married, she had started saying little things that pinched, comments about who deserves what and who contributes more to the family. I used to brush it off. Sisters fight, sisters forgive. That's what I believed. She'd visit me sometimes. Always in a rush. Always with a tone that made me feel like a guest in my own space. One afternoon during my 8th month, she came by unannounced. I was squatting on the floor, rolling dough for chapati, sweat dripping down my neck from the heat. "You shouldn't be living here alone," she said, eyeing the cracked tiles like they offended her. "This place isn't fit for a woman about to give birth." "I'll be fine," I told her. "I've lived here all my life." She made a face, the kind you can't quite decode, something between disapproval and calculation. "Still," she said, "things change. Families change. Inheritance has to be reconsidered sometimes, you know?" I didn't know that home would be gone before I even held him. It was the last week of my pregnancy when the bleeding started, sudden and sharp, soaking through layers of cloth. Saad rushed me to the hospital. The drive was a blur of horn sounds, tears, and the smell of antiseptic. Nurses pushed me into a room. Machines beeped around me. Everything moved fast. I labored for 14 hours. 14 hours of clenching the bedsheets, biting my lip until it bled, calling out for my mother though she'd been gone for years. Sana didn't come. No one from her side did. She sent a single message. "Busy. Will come later." But later never came. When my son was finally placed on my chest, warm, crying, perfect, the world shrank, his tiny hands gripping my finger. I cried, not just from pain, but from gratitude. For a moment, life felt full. Safe. Promising. I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. My stitches needed monitoring, my blood pressure spiked twice, and my newborn needed oxygen support for a few hours. Throughout it all, Sana didn't visit. Maybe she's busy, I told myself. Maybe she'll come when we're home. I didn't know that by the time I was lying in that hospital bed, staring at my son's sleeping face, my sister had already sold my share of the house. Sold it. Signed it. Transferred it. While I was in labor. And when I finally came home, baby in my arms, there was nothing left for me. No room, no bed, no memories. Just strangers repainting the walls, covering the past in a fresh coat of someone else's future. I stood at the gate, heart pounding, mouth dry. A man looked at me and said, Behenji, please don't stand here. The property is sold. Owners don't want disturbances. Owners. Not family. Not sisters. Owners. My legs trembled. My son whimpered. And the world I knew slipped out from under me. But I wasn't going to disappear silently. Not this time. Not after everything I had already survived. I took a breath, wiped my tears, and whispered to my newborn, Don't worry, my love. Mama will fight for what's ours.